The fifth major assignment for this course is Family Resources. It is the third and final part to the family interview project. This is the culminating assignment for this course where you will demonstrate everything you learned about meeting a family's needs. There are three parts to this assignment. For the first part of this assignment, you will make a functional support for the child. A functional support generally refers to a tool or activity that addresses a student's behavioral, social, emotional, or physical needs. If the child does not have needs in these areas, because his or her needs are primarily academic, you may choose to make an academic support instead. Whatever you make must be ready to use, not just information about it or directions on how to make it. The support cannot be generic. It must be directly related to the needs you learned from the interview. I'll show you some examples from other students on the next few slides. Here's an example of a functional support called a social story. A social story can be a written or visual guide describing various social interactions, situations, behaviors, skills, or concepts. The goal of a social story is to share accurate social information in a reassuring manner that is easily understood by its audience. In these examples, the social stories address how to socially deal with not winning and what to do when feeling frustrated. A social story is often used as a support for people with autism who have difficulty with theory of mind. Theory of mind is like being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and it is often difficult for a person with autism. You can find lots of information on how to create a social story online if this is a support you think might be useful for the child of the family you interviewed. If you get information from another source, don't forget to cite it. Some students recognize the need for the child to take more ownership in daily tasks and chores. Some examples of things students made were customized responsibility charts or morning-evening routine charts with magnetic or Velcro tasks that could be added or removed. Please note, you are welcome to use materials you find online as long as you customize them for the family. You cannot generically use them as is, and as long as you cite them. This particular student acknowledged the family's desire for the child to interact more with her siblings and for the child to work on memory skills. The siblings have a common interest in the movie Frozen, so this person made a memory game with a Frozen theme for the siblings to play together. Similar to social stories, some children with developmental or learning disabilities may struggle remembering the steps to routine tasks or behaviors. Oftentimes, these students are good with technology and have their own mobile devices to use. If this is the case for your family, you may consider making some video modeling supports that could be added to a mobile device. Video modeling supports show a person the child's age correctly doing each step of a task or a behavior. They often have text overlays or voiceovers to help explain the task step by step. The goal with this type of support is to make the child more independent.
How to walk in line at school. When my teacher says it's time to line up, I walk to the back of the line with my friends. I keep my hands to myself and I keep my voice quiet. I wait for my teacher to open the door. Then I can leave the classroom. I make sure I use my walking feet. When I walk in line, I do not run ahead of the person in front of me. I stay in my place in line. When we walk in line at school, we get to where we need to go safely and in a group.
Many families may express their desire to decrease a particular negative behavior or to improve a particular positive behavior. You can come up with a creative behavior plan that capitalizes on the child's interests and strengths. This particular student interviewed a family of a person with an intellectual disability and a mild physical disability at the transition stage of life. The family expressed their desire for the young adult to exercise more to maintain muscle strength, and they also mentioned how that young man loves getting Jamba Juice smoothies as a treat. The student came up with a detailed goal chart to improve his exercising habits. She set goals and corresponding rewards, as well as a plan on how to scale back on the extrinsic awards to scaffold the process of making the behavior more intrinsically motivated. As you can see, the possibilities are endless for the functional support. I'm happy to have a Skype or Google Hangout conference with you if you want to bounce some ideas off of me for the support. Begin first by identifying the functional needs you want to address. Be creative and think outside the box. The second part of the assignment is a resource guide filled with ample information about a minimum of 3 good resources to meet the needs of the entire family. The resources may include local, state, or national agencies and organizations, or they may include products or services that would address the family's basic needs related to emotional support, daily life, community and social connections, etc. The resources can be organized and presented as a printed handout or brochure, a digital presentation, or as an interactive form like a website, based on the family's preference. Just like the functional support, these resources should be highly customized and focus on specific needs and interests identified by the family. Several students opt to turn their resource guides into a nice website using sites like Wix or Weebly. This is an example of an excellent, well-organized website filled with ample detail. The family this student was supporting has a child of the transition age, and they expressed the desire to know more options for socialization and living situations. The mother said she would love to turn her home into a group home, so this student researched what it would take to do that and listed detailed steps with hyperlinks to outside resources. She also provided information on how to find other group homes near the family. Notice how this student provided plenty of images and hyperlinks with a professional-looking presentation. Lastly, the student provided information about social opportunities in the community related to the young adult's interests. The last part of this assignment is to write a rationale for your resources on a Word document. On the Word doc, you should describe the functional support you made and the resources you compiled, and detail how they meet the family's needs as identified in the interview. If you used any outside sources, including information about organizations or templates for your functional support, you should also include an APA-style reference list that includes citations for any materials you did not create yourself. You should also cite the resources in text on the resource guide itself so I know where the information came from. It would be unnatural to cite anything on the functional support, so no in-text citations are needed for that, only a reference list. The reference list can go right at the end of your Word document. There's a lot you can do to push yourself up to the proficient level on this assignment. I do not expect you to change the world with one support and some resources, but the effort, thought, and care you put into making these useful to the family you interviewed will be directly reflected in your grade. Don't forget to utilize the full assignment description in addition to this video. Please only email me with questions after you've already looked for the answer on this document.